Hi folks, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the T49. Yes, it's the Ace Tanker, even though I aced this tank previously because the T49 was moved to Tier 9. My original ace was on this tank at Tier 8, so this is my first ace in the tank at Tier 9, and as you can see, I'm using the derp gun because I mentioned on a recent video that, I'm stubborn, I like my derps, and even though this is an incredibly frustrating tank, yes, you can have amazing games with this gun, but it's incredibly inconsistent. Since it moved to Tier 9, my win rate has actually been dropping in this tank using the derp gun, whereas I loved it at Tier 8. For some reason, I'm just having a little bit more trouble making it work at Tier 9, but I'm a stubborn git, and, I said I was going to stick with the derp gun, I should say. I'll stick with the derp gun until I pick up an ace, and then I'll do as you guys have been suggesting in the comments and maybe switch to the 90mm because you guys reckon it's a better gun or it's more consistent. So anyway, I decided to stick with the derp gun until I picked up my first ace in the tank, and this is it. We are here on Malinovka. It's a Tier 10 game, although there are only 3 Tier 10s on either side, and I'm gonna very briefly go over the history because this is a tank I've covered on the channel before. I did talk about its history before, but essentially this is a the T49 was basically an upgunned M41 Bulldog. In the early 1960s, the Bulldog was considered maybe a little bit underpowered or a little bit obsolete compared to the new Soviet medium tanks. So the M41 Bulldog was then sold to a lot of other nations, and America began a program to try and upgrade the Bulldog. So this is essentially a Bulldog hull, although it's been remodeled, and it's basically an upgunned or a different turret. Now, the derp gun is historically accurate because this technically is not a derp gun. It is a 152mm M8E1 rifled gun launcher. That means that this gun was designed to fire Shalala anti-tank missiles, or Shalala wire-guided anti-tank missiles, and then it had heat as its backup ammunition. So this is actually a missile launcher or a gun launcher as opposed to a gun. And the turret again was an attempt to basically keep the M41 Bulldog relevant. So this is the tank that came up with the T49. It was a redesigned M41 hull with a new turret and a new gun firing Shalala missiles or anti-tank missiles, and it was trialled in the mid-1960s, and it passed its trials incredibly successfully. It was a very, very good prototype. But then the Russians it became known that the Russians had developed the PT-76, which was an amphibious tank, and America didn't have any amphibious light tanks. And while this was slated to maybe go into production as their latest light tank, unfortunately the PT-76's arrival on the scene meant that America decided to go back to the drawing board and design an amphibious tank as opposed to sticking with this one. So rather than redesigning this to be amphibious, they went back to scratch and redesigned the Sheridan, which we have at Tier 10, which is an amphibious tank in, to meet the threat of the PT-76, or at least to equal it. So there we go. This was a prototype. It was a very successful prototype. It was probably going to go into production, and then it had to be redesigned as an amphibious tank. So anyway, yeah, I went into the history in a little bit more detail in the original T49 video, but we're going to go, because as I say, my first ace with the derp gun, and this is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a long video or I'm probably going to have to split this video, actually. You're probably going to be getting 2 videos. So this is my first ace with the derp gun, and we're here on Malinovka. It's a nice map for scouts, and I'm, maybe planning to push up to the area around maybe C7, C8, but then I get spotted, and that means one thing. It means that there is a light tank sitting in the bush down in roughly about E4. So, I'm going to take a wider berth. I got spotted, so the original plan maybe to try and push the C7 area has gone to, well, it didn't last very long. Now I've got to relocate because I got spotted. But we're going to go up the hill and, see whether or not any of the enemy tanks have gone uphill. Now, they've got a couple of mediums, but there don't seem to be very many heavy tanks on either side. So, I don't know what I'm going to be meeting up here, but we've got our HE loaded. And what you can see here is the HE gives you 76mm of penetration, 910 damage, which is great, but the aim time, as you can see, is terrible. But we're going to put a shot into the bush where tanks like to hide. Don't know if that went in, but what's interesting about the 152mm is its secondary ammo is heat, which is historically accurate. But I think this is the only tank in the game that gets heat as... No, I'm wrong. One of the new Swedish TDs does, but this is one of the only tanks that gets heat as standard ammunition. So 152mm of penetration and 700 damage, and this is not premium ammunition, this is regular ammunition. The premium ammunition is HE with 85mm of penetration, 910 damage. But we pushed up, first victim here, gonna wait for him to fall behind the bushes before firing, so that maybe my camo rating is maintained. But it's not. I get spotted, so yes, there are definitely enemy light tanks in the vicinity or someone with good view range. So the the T49, it's kind of a weird tank. I do like it, but compared to other tier or higher tier light tanks, it's quite big. Its camo rating isn't very good, but you do get a nice choice of guns. So yeah, the derp gun is incredibly inconsistent, but it's big, doesn't have a big or great camo rating, and it's, you know, reasonable top speed of about 65 kilometers an hour. You can see me reaching it here, but I've decided that trying to push the forest down along the A line is useless, so I'm going to come over here, try and do some spotting in the middle. So we're just going to pop up, got spotted, reverse back down, go forward. Yeah, yes. There are tanks that are moving into our spawn. That was probably the Object 140. So, okay, looking at the mini-map, Object 140 was last spotted hiding behind a house in those bushes there, so we're just going to poke out and aim as long as we dare. Sixth Sense hasn't gone off, but we put a shot in. Do I get spotted again? Nope, I don't get spotted. Okay, so whoever's spotting me is probably in that bush just down to my left. But we're a scout, we're a light tanker. We're going to try and push up, we're going to try and do some spots. Our team have taken the hill, so it's just up to getting some spots now. Spotted the Tortoise, M40, or the T44. Spotted the FV4005. Now look at this, This is what you dream of in a derp gun. This guy only has 15mm of turret armor, and that shot goes true, but unfortunately it's an incredibly low roll. Yeah, so 910 alpha damage, and that only did 848, so a little bit disappointing, but we're picking up assistance damage. Now this is why the gun is inconsistent. See, aiming fully, gonna try and hit this guy, track him, and the shot doesn't even reach the target. Now that was pretty much a fully aimed shot, and this is why I'm finding the derp gun incredibly inconsistent. I love the derp gun, but I just find it annoying sometimes. But once again, we're picking up some assistance damage and keeping an eye down again on tanks that may be shooting me from behind. So move up, more assistance damage. Oh, 5100. And even though the camo rating is not great on this tank, it's good enough to sit up here and not get spotted until I fire. So Jagdtiger 88 and Tortoise, and I figure, okay, Tortoise is probably an easier target for me. I want to track him in place, get a lot of HE, or get a lot of assistance damage, and unfortunately he goes blind. Now, yeah, okay, 88 goes down. So yeah, I did hit the Tortoise, but it went blind before the shot hit, so I'm not quite sure how much assistance damage I did there. But I'm gonna move up. Oh, it looks as if he lost a lot of health. I don't know how much of that was mine. But once again, just moving up. Oh, Batchat. Now this guy's the guy who was annoying me all game. So this is where the game starts to get very annoying. So we take out the Batchat, we do 512 damage, and then all of a sudden my hit, okay. Oh, all my hit points disappear and my commander gets knocked out, and I'm going, what was that? And from the hit markers, you can see that basically it was 718 damage. I thought I got away with it, but 718 damage from a Jagdpanther 2. So this Jagdpanther 2 down here is firing HE, and he hit and he penned me. So yeah, this is just a bulldog hull. It doesn't have a lot of armor. So even though it looks quite big, it doesn't have armor to match its size. But my commander's been taken out. I have no view range now, and as I say, just an incredibly frustrating game. This is the worst thing that can happen to a light tank, is basically to have your commander taken out and have your first aid kit in a cooldown, have your repair kit in a cooldown. So really, I'm kind of helpless here. I can't spot for my team, and I can't do anything for another 38 seconds. So in the meantime, I missed that shot completely. Side of a Jagdpanther 2, and that shot misses. And yeah, this gun makes me want to scream sometimes. But yeah, we're just waiting, and as I say, incredibly frustrating because I want to advance, I want to get spots, but my commander's dead, but I decide to do it anyway. I can't spot anything for myself, but I'm going to get into a new position, and hopefully when I get there, the cooldown will have expired and I'll be able to get my commander back into action. So I'm not going to be able to spot anything. And, oh, okay, I guess I'm spotted. Alright, so someone's just taking a blind shot at me. And, okay, alright. First aid kit's back. Ah, there's the T-54 lightweight. First aid kit's back. Now I need to put my commander back in, but in the meantime... Okay, yeah, in the meantime my loader goes down, so you can see that this tank takes a lot of module, a lot of crew damage, so... yeah, just when I thought I was going to get back into action with my commander, then my loader dies. So, yeah, it's annoying as heck. But anyway, we're going to move forward. We've got a commander, we've got view range. There's RT on the enemy team that need to be spotted, need to be hunted down. So, M4043, you can see the long aim time here. We can take him out. There's the 261. I maybe should have gone for the 261, but get down into the lower ground, try and get safe for the Skoda T50 and the 140. Yeah, so I'm safe now, and just, okay, maybe it looks as if the T-50's coming for me. RT goes down. Alright, so this is a little bit awkward because those two tanks have a lot of health. And on top of that, I'm a 1 kill, so I'm kind of a little bit hesitant about moving in here. We've got lots of tanks who are on lots of health, but our M46 Patton's just lost all of his. Yeah, he just got clipped by the T-50. So 140 did a little bit of damage, T-50 clipped him, but we've got a full health Jagdpanther 2 moving in, we've got a Stridswagen S1, Scorpion G and Grill 15 all camping, and the E75 is moving in as well. So I don't really want to move forward and try and take on these tanks. There's no guarantee I'm going to be able to one-hit kill either of them if the shell doesn't penetrate, so I just need our team to move up, and as I say, it's incredibly frustrating. I found myself just, I don't know, gnashing my teeth all throughout this game because it was one annoyance after another. Getting spotted at the beginning of the game trying to move into position, getting my commander knocked out, getting hit for 718 damage with an HE firing Jagdpanther 2, getting my loader knocked out, and now down to a 1-hit kill. So I just need my team to move forward. I mean, you know, everyone is clicking saying go forward, but there are still 2 enemy tanks here, and our Jagdpanther 2 has just died, and I don't really want to move in. You know, I don't want to die in this particular game, so thankfully the Skoda T50 goes down. I was hoping to, maybe I was the one who spotted him, but too many bushes between me and him. So we're just going to advance, see if we can spot the 140. Oh, there he is. Okay, and he's on low health, so... And, yeah, okay, we leave him on 6 health. 388 damage, and we leave him on 6 health. So this is why the derp gun is so inconsistent. I mean, he was on relatively low health, and we failed to kill him. 388 damage, left him on 6 health, and we ended up picking up 6 assistance damage, but there we go. So, first ace in the T49 as a tier 9, using the 152mm gun launcher, and yeah, I was happy with the result, but it was just an incredibly frustrating game. I remember being incredibly annoyed throughout it. Everything seemed to go wrong, but yet the end result was very, very nice. So we picked up the ace, we picked up scout, and we picked up patrol duty, and that's always what I'm aiming for when I'm playing light tanks, to try and pick up both medals. It means I had a good game, frustrating or not. So scout, patrol duty, happy with that. Finished top on XP with 1372, 2,484 damage done, so not a lot of damage, not a lot of kills, only 2 kills, but we did manage to pick up 6,470 assistance damage, so that pretty much gave me the ace. We spotted 10 of the enemy team, damaged 6, destroyed 2, and earned 50,000 credits. It was my first game of the day, times 2, because I'm grinding all my higher tier light tanks now to try and get to tier 10. So this went quite a chunk of the way. I mean, I still got about another 150,000 XP I need to get before I get to tier 10, but yeah, 4,116 XP overall with a premium account was a decent result. But yeah, you guys, every time I talk about the T49 or show a T49 clip before a video, you guys are saying, you know, use the 90mm. You're complaining about it being inconsistent, use the 90mm. Well, yeah, after this game, I basically took the 152mm off, and I decided to stick the 90mm on, just to see whether or not I would like the tank more, because I find, you know, the T49 a lot of fun to play with the derp gun, but it's just incredibly frustrating at the same time. So, would the 90mm be more consistent? Would following your advice lead me to either hate the T49, because for me, the T49 is the derp gun. I mean, if you don't have a derp gun on a T49, it's just a I don't know, a substandard tank with a 90mm. It's just like every other light tank at tier 8 or tier 9. So, yeah, taking the derp gun off, putting the 90mm on. I followed your advice. I decided to do it. I wasn't expecting much. I was expecting it maybe just to be another tier 8, tier 9 light tank with a 90mm. And as I say, the other attributes of the T49 don't really make up for it because, you know, it's got a 90mm, but so do other high tier light tanks. The camo rating isn't as good as other high tier light tanks. The turning circle, the maneuverability isn't as good as other higher tier light tanks. The camo rating isn't as good as other higher tier light tanks. It's a bigger target than other higher tier light tanks. So, I mean, sticking a 90mm onto it, you know, for me, sort of would have ruined the character. But I decided to do it. I said, for science, we'll stick a 90mm on it, and we'll experiment. That's going to come up in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.